Welcome to The Explainer, where we turn foundational stories into visual journeys you won't forget.
So what happens when you're on the run with literally nothing but a rock for a pillow and you have a dream about a stairway to heaven? Today, we're jumping into the story of Jacob, a fugitive who has this life-altering encounter right in the middle of nowhere. Our story kicks off with a really high-stakes mission. A father gives an urgent command that sets his son on a dangerous path, one that's going to shape the future of an entire nation.
Okay, verse 1. Picture an old man, Isaac. His voice is firm, and he's giving his son Jacob this one critical rule. Do not marry a local woman. And you got to understand, this isn't just about preference. It was about keeping their family line and their faith pure.
So, verse 2. That command now turns into a full-blown quest. Jacob has to travel to his mother's distant homeland, Padan Aram, to find a wife from his own people. We're talking a long, hard journey.
Now, what's really interesting here in verses 3 and 4 is that this isn't just a command, it's a transfer of a legacy. Isaac gives Jacob the monumental blessing of Abraham, the promise of land, descendants, the whole shebang. The torch is officially passed.
And with that, in verse 5, the mission is on. Jacob turns his back on everything he's ever known and starts that long walk right into the unknown.
Okay, so while Jacob is on his way, let's cut to his brother Esau. Because Esau's reaction to all of this, well, it reveals his true character and creates this really crucial contrast.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates the core difference between these two brothers. You've got one guy acting from true obedience and the other acting from pure calculation.
See, in verses 6 and 7, Esau isn't just watching all this go down. No, he's analyzing it. He's putting 2 and 2 together and seeing that Jacob's obedience brought him a powerful blessing.
Then, in verse 8, a light bulb goes off for Esau. He finally understands his father's deep disapproval of his own foreign wives. It clicks.
So what does he do? Verse 9, he tries to copy the formula, but he totally misses the point. He marries a relative, sure, but he's doing it to win his dad's approval, not out of any real obedience. It's a calculated move. All right, let's get back to Jacob. He's alone on his journey, completely vulnerable, exhausted, and this is where we hit the climax of the story, a divine encounter.
Verse 10, I really want you to imagine this. Jacob is just this solitary figure, walking through a vast, empty landscape. The sun's going down, casting these long, lonely shadows. And in verse 11, he's got nothing. He's totally exposed. He takes a rough, cold stone and uses it for a pillow, as total darkness falls around him.
But then, verse 12, in his sleep, the landscape just transforms. A massive, glowing stairway explodes into view, connecting the dirt he's lying on all the way up to the stars. And on it, angels are moving up and down.
And from the top of this stairway, a voice thunders down in verses 13 and 14. It's a promise of land and a future so vast his descendants will be uncountable. A huge confirmation for this lonely fugitive.
Then, in verse 15, this epic promise becomes intensely personal. God assures Jacob, the lonely guy on the run, that he's going to be with him and protect him on this journey.
So, verses 16 and 17, Jacob snaps awake. His heart is pounding, not just with fear, but with this breathtaking awe. He realizes he wasn't just sleeping on some random patch of empty ground. He was at a gateway to heaven itself.
You know, a dream that powerful demands a response. And Jacob doesn't just sit there and think about it. No, he acts, turning this place of rest into a place of worship.
So at first light, Jacob performs this really cool 4-step ritual. He takes that stone pillow, sets it up like a pillar, and pours oil over it, making it a sacred monument. And then, in verse 19, he gives this place a new name. He calls it Bethel, which means house of God, marking it on the map forever.
So to wrap it all up, Jacob makes a deal, a formal vow. He lays out his conditions. If you do this for me, then I'll do this for you, turning this whole encounter into a binding covenant for his future.
So when you think about it, Jacob's life completely changed at a stone pillow. It really makes you wonder, where are the unexpected gateways to heaven in our own lives? Maybe they show up when we're most vulnerable,